Hello everyone, how's it going? And welcome to today's Wild Rift video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at our first look at Wild Rift patch 3.3a, which will be coming out next Wednesday, which I believe is around the same time as Legendary Queue. If you don't know, this is normally like a sneak peek that they put on social media, normally about 5 days before the patch comes out. So we got it here. We're ready to read through it all. I'll give you all my opinions on every single change, what I think is good, what I think is kind of bad, etc, etc. So a lot of champion buffs, a lot of champion nerfs, and some system changes as well, which are quite good. I think most of the system changes are actually pretty good. But first off, let's take a look at Jayce. Now, Jayce is in a bit of a weird situation, in my opinion. The buffs are like not too much, I'll be totally honest with you. They're like a little buffs to the range shock blast, so that's the first ability on both range form and also melee form. But I think, you know, Jayce, after the Hull Breaker nerfs, even though the melee form of Jayce still gets the full Hull Breaker defenses or resistances, most of the time you play in range form during laning phase anyway, so you're going to get the reduced resistances on the minions and also yourself. And also, you know, his build is a little bit weird. Conqueror got nerfed as well quite a lot, so Conqueror is not that good on him because he doesn't get the extra damage anymore. So I think they're just buffing his damage numbers up ever so slightly just to make his win rate a little bit more. I guess his win rate went down quite a bit since, you know, the Conqueror changes, the Hull Breaker changes as well. And the build for Jayce is a little bit weird. It's a little bit all over the place. It's like you can go Manamune or Ghost Blade or, you know, Black Cleaver, but like none of these items are really like that good for Jayce. You know, Jayce's item build is a little bit weird, kind of similar to the way that like Evelyn and Fizz and Akali, the builds are very weird for them as well, because they like to build just like tier 2 items, or I'd like to just straight go for Death Cap, which normally most of the time is not really a good first item, but they don't really have any other choice. So yeah, some decent buffs to Jayce. I haven't really seen Jayce too much, to be fair, in ranked and high elo, so I'm not really too sure whether he's, you know, still really good or just not as good as before. That's why they're buffing him. It is interesting that they're buffing Jayce. Again, it's only 10% AD ratio on the first ability on both melee and range form, so I don't think it will affect too much. For Pyke, his base health growth is going up by 10. I believe this is going to be every level, I guess. I'm not too sure what it means by base health growth. Is that just his base health that he increases after every level? I'm guessing that's what it is. And I think the reason why it's quite high is because Pyke doesn't gain health from items. His health from items gets converted into AD, so I'm pretty sure that's why his health growth is a lot more than a lot of other champions. So his health growth is going up by 10 at every level. Again, I think that's what it is. Let me know if you think that is anything different down in the comments. But that means it's going to go up by 150 at max rank. So a little bit of a health buff to Pyke, meaning that he'll be a little bit more tanky. He's also getting a change to his passive as well, which is Gift of the Drowned Ones. Great health storage with when 2 or more enemy champions are nearby. It's from 35 to now 45 damage suffered. So basically this is the kind of the black health bar that you have. So when you take damage, there's like a second health bar that comes up on Pyke, and that's kind of his health that he can heal back up. And when he takes damage, if there are 2 or more enemies nearby, then more of the damage will be stored. So like 45% of the damage will be stored instead of, I don't know what the numbers are like if there's only one person nearby, but it's a lot less. So they're buffing Pyke to take more damage, to allow Pyke to take more damage when more enemies are nearby, so that he can escape, he can heal back up, and then he can get back into team fights again. So not a bad buff. And then also they got Phantom Undertow, deals 25% damage to monsters and minions. I'm pretty sure Pyke already did damage to monsters. I mean, not monsters, minions. I'm not too sure what the numbers were, though. I'm not too sure if this is 25% of the base damage, so it's actually a nerf, or it's 25% more damage. Again, the wording is very, very strange. It just says deal 25% damage to minions and monsters. I'm guessing this is 25% of the third ability damage of the Phantom Undertow damage. But again, I'm pretty sure before this patch anyway, Pyke already dealt damage to minions, so I'm not really too sure what this is about. Again, we'll probably see maybe in the full patch notes next week to see what the exact wording is and why exactly they've changed it like this. But again, I'm pretty sure they've already done minions, and we'll have to see what this is. But I'm pretty sure base health growth is health per level, so this is like a 10 health buff per level. And then the passive is completely fine. So yeah, some decent buffs for Pyke. They're buffing Pyke again, to be honest with you. I think Pyke is in a pretty decent spot anyway. I think he's a pretty decent carry. He can get a lot of resets. He can get a lot of kills. I guess maybe he's not as tanky as what they would like him to be. He is pretty squishy, to be honest. He does die very, very quickly, so I can understand that. And again, I'm not really too sure what this deals 25% damage to minions and monsters are, but we'll have to see. Renekton's getting another buff again as well. Economic healing bonus AD ratio per enemy hit is going up from 8% to 10%. So this is just his AD ratio on his first ability, the one that spins. This is basically the healing that he gets based on his bonus AD ratio. So it's going from 8 to 10%. So more healing for Renekton. Can't really complain about that. But again, anti-heal is very, very easy to buy in Wild Rift. So even though it's a 2%, you know, increase in healing, it will help him a little bit, but then it'll also get reduced by Mortal Reminder, Oblivion, or Morellonomicon, Mortal, you know, Executioner's Calling, all these items. But a little bit of extra healing is also nice. And then the second ability, Ruthless Predator, the base damage per strike is going up by quite a lot during the late game. So they're trying to make his burst damage a little bit higher during the late game. If you don't know, Ruthless Predator is one that stuns, it like attacks 3 times. So early game, they feel like it's pretty good, but late game is where they really want to hit. They really want to hit that in the late game and make sure that he does more damage now during the late game. So yeah, an extra 15 damage on Ruthless Predator, quite a lot, to be honest with you. You know, that doesn't include all the AD that he builds from, like Blade of Rune King that he's going to build damage from. Black Cleaver, obviously Blade of Rune King does work really well with Ruthless Predator because it procs every single strike of Blade of Rune King with the second ability, so really, really good. And also, you know, you got a load of other AD that you'll be building as well. So really, really nice changes to Renekton. We'll have to see. I'm pretty sure you max first ability, then third ability, if I'm not mistaken, but it'll probably be second ability as your second ability upgrade. So you'll probably get this about like level 10, but this is insanely good. Like, you know, 15 damage buff is really, really good during a late game. And so we'll have to see how the things work. Right, on to champion nerfs. They're nerfing Draven instead of Lucian, which I think is a really interesting one. I'm guessing Draven is just that strong right now, and people are just, I don't know, abusing Draven in a way. I'm not really too sure, to be totally honest with you. Like, Draven is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I thought the Draven was like, you know, S tier at best. I mean, I think he's probably S plus tier, but again, he's quite difficult to play, but I guess he's not that difficult to play if they're nerfing him. And they're nerfing him by 10% of his AD ratio on his spinning axe, which is not really a big hit, but it's still a pretty big hit. Because obviously with Draven as an AD carry, you build a lot of AD. That's where he mainly gets his damage from as well, is his spinning axes, his first ability, making sure you pick up your axes, you use your first ability, you keep spamming it as well. So a bit of an interesting nerf. I guess it's fine for me because I hate playing against Draven anyway. And also I can't play Draven. So happy days for me. I'm glad that none of the other AD champions got nerfed. You know, Caitlyn did get nerfed, Lucian, Xayah. Cool, that's completely fine. Draven, I'll take that. I'll take that. But maybe a lot of people will be sad. I know Doom's pretty sad about it. But yeah, a little bit of a nerf to Draven. Senna is getting a really, really big hit this patch. And not only to her nerfs, but also the items, which I'll get to later on. The base attack speed growth is going down by 1 at every single rank. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. You're missing out on 15% attack speed at max level. That is a lot of attack speeds. But I did feel like, you know, Senna did get a lot of attack speed, to be fair. I was like, where is she getting all this attack speed from? But I guess that's where it was. It's from the base attack speed growth. But I was always thinking to myself, I was like, when I always got to the mid and late game with Senna, I was like, wow, I'm attacking quite a lot, quite frequently. And I guess that's why, because her attack speed growth was so high. So reducing that down, which makes sense, because most of the time with Senna, it's not really about attack speed. It's about, you know, quick bursts of damage, making sure you can auto attack, heal your allies and everything as well. So, but it is a pretty big hit. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is a really, really big hit. And also they're reducing the current health damage that you deal to enemy champions. So before it was 1.6 to 16%. Now it's 1.2 to 12%. Now obviously the early game is only going down by 0.4, which is not too bad. But again, the late game is really getting hit. 4% current health damage is a lot at level 10. So you're losing out on basically 4% of the current enemies health. You're losing out on that much as damage. So attack speed growth getting hit by a lot during the late game, and also late game passive on the current health damage is also going. down by quite a lot during the late game. So again, hitting Senna in the late game, which is where Senna is really, really strong at the moment. Her early game maybe will still be completely fine, but her late game is taking a huge hit. Shen, his passive, his shield is going down ever so slightly. I think Shen is just a very, very safe, very, very easy champion to play in the Baron lane. He doesn't really lose any matchups, I feel like, at the moment as well, because you can just play so safe. You have your shield, you have your taunt to get away to safety. You have your area of effect little barrier sort of thing as well, where you don't really take any damage at all. So Shen is just a really safe, really easy to play Baron laner, and I guess that's why he's nerfing him. So the shield from the passive is going down by 9 basically, so it's pretty easy. Nice easy numbers, going down by 9 early and 9 late game. Twilight Assault, so the first ability, the maximum health ratio is going down by 0.5 every rank, and also the enhanced max health ratio is going down by 0.5. So this is basically every time Shen uses his first ability, he does maximum health damage. That's basically the ratio that's going down now. So he won't be dealing as much damage to champions that are building a lot of maximum health, or just maximum health ratio just in general. Which, to be fair, most of the time Shen goes up against champions that like to build, like, you know, at the moment it's Divine Sunderer, Black Cleaver, Death Dance. It's all these health items that are really, really strong. So that's why Shen was doing pretty well in the Baron lane, because you can deal quite a lot of max health ratio damage because of all the health that Baron laners are dealing at the moment. So a little bit of nerfs to Shen, not too bad, but some little nerfs. I think Shen will still be completely fine, to be honest with you, just because he can split push really well. He can get into team fights really easily. He's just always that separate source of pressure. Like, he's always going to create pressure on the other side of the map. That's just the way that Shen works and the way the champion works. So I think Shen will still be completely fine. Sona getting some nerfs. I honestly think the shield has always been strong for a very, very long time now. I think ever since they changed it, so they reduced the healing on the second ability, but they increased the shielding on the second ability, I think that's what has made Sona strong for this whole time. Because with her second ability, her healing only heals up to, I believe it's 2 allies, but the shield can go on to every single ally, and getting 140 shield at max rank, and obviously most of the time this is the ability that you max first. So at level, what was it, level 6 or something stupid like that, level 6, you can get 145 shield onto every single ally. It's disgusting. It's so strong. So I'm glad they're nerfing this. It's by 30, which is quite a lot. I still think, you know, Sona will still scale quite well into the middle late game, but I think they needed to nerf this shield, because like I said, ever since they changed it, wow, about a month ago now, I feel like that they turned the healing down, but they put the shielding up. That's really where, you know, Sona has been strong now, is staying close to allies, giving everyone a shield as well. And this ability is up so often. You know, you build a lot of mana, you build a lot of ability haste. The shielding goes up by quite a lot. The cooldown goes down by quite a lot, sorry, and the shielding goes up by quite a lot as well as you level it up. So quite happy with that. I'm all good with that. And also the Crescendo base ability cooldown reduction. So this is basically the passive of Crescendo, her ultimate. If you don't know, when you level up your ultimate, basically all your base ability cooldowns get reduced by 10%, 25 and 40, but now it's 10, 20 and 30. So they're hitting Sona in the late game quite hard. This is kind of the same as Senna. It's like Senna and Sona like super strong during the late game. Like Sona becomes basically an unkillable heal bot that can keep spamming abilities over and over again because she's stacked up tier. Senna's just this long range annoying heal bot that does a bunch of damage as well. Not really a heal bot, but she does do healing and shielding that does a stupid amount of damage. So again, hitting Sona during the late game, which is really nice, which is where Sona's strong point is, with her shielding and also her base ability cooldown reduction. So maybe she can't spam abilities that much because she's losing out on 10% of the base ability cooldown reduction. So we'll have to see how that one works out. Soraka, they're nerfing again, I feel like. I mean, this is like a kind of a, I mean, it's definitely more of a nerf. I mean, it's a nerf and a buff at the same time. They're nerfing her base heal on her ultimate in the mid and the late game, but they're buffing an AP ratio. To be honest with you, Soraka does build a little bit of ability power. You know, you got Staff of Flame Water. Athene just gives you a little bit. If you do go tier into Archangel Staff, that gives you a little bit. I'm trying to think of AP items that Soraka build. So she does build AP items, but it doesn't make up for the fact that you're losing 50 base healing now on your ultimate, which is a pretty big hit to the late game. Early game is still fine. Mid game is still fine, to be fair. 25 is probably not too much. By this time, you probably maybe have 1.5, maybe 2 items as a support. So you're probably making up with that with the extra 5% ability power that you're getting. But the late game is the big hit. You know, 50 base healing. I don't think you'll be able to get that much in 5% of your AP. You'll probably have to work out calculations to see how much it gets hit. But yeah, pretty decent. Pretty good. Again, I never really saw Soraka and Sona that much, to be honest with you, but Soraka's always just been an annoying champion to deal with. You know, the healing is just absolutely disgusting. You're forced to build Executioner's Calling as the first item, kind of the same with Sona as well at the same time, and maybe the same with Senna. So they're just nerfing some of the Enchanter supports. But this means that Nami goes up still, Lulu's still strong, Yumi's still strong in my opinion, Karma is still fairly decent. You know, all these other Enchanter supports are still really good in my opinion. So yeah, Yasuo, his shielding, his base shielding is going down during the late game, and also his shield duration is also going down. These are fine changes, nothing really too much to say about these. This is just affecting Yasuo when it gets into the late game now, nerfing his shield by a little bit, and also the shield duration going down by 0.5 seconds. Which is fine, you know, I guess Yasuo did get a shield for quite a long time. So nerfing it by 0.5 seconds is fine, and then nerfing Yasuo during a late game. Happy days, another champion getting nerfed that I don't like to deal with. Ekko, so they're basically reducing his bonus damage to monsters from 150% down to 120%. This is basically his passives. This is every time he uses every time he hits the champion with an ability or auto attack 3 times, you basically deal bonus damage. So reducing that, they're reducing his jungle clear ever so slightly by 30%, but they're reducing the mana cost of Time Winder by 10 at every single rank, which is okay. I mean, like, I feel like Ekko jungle is still in a really good spot even after the Fleet Footwork nerfs. Fleet Footwork was kind of the go-to for Ekko, but now most of the time you go electrocute. You can go Fleet Footwork if you want to stay more healthy during the jungle, but you just don't get the full effect of Fleet Footwork anymore. So yeah, damage to monsters is like okay. I still think Ekko's jungle clear is still really strong, and Time Winder mana cost is like cool, whatever. I mean, this will help him during the laning phase, but during the jungle, it's not really that big of a deal. Staff of the Foam Water is an interesting one. Buff duration is going up from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, which I think is a pretty crazy buff. I think it's really good because you give champions ability power, and you also give them ability haste. Now, the ability haste granted is going down by from 20 to 15, but I still think 15 ability haste is a lot. You're giving a champion 15 ability haste for 6 seconds. That's quite a lot of ability haste. That's kind of, well, not really an item, but you know, normally from an item you get about 15 to 20 ability haste. So I feel like this happening for 6 seconds is really good and really strong, and I quite like these changes. I still feel like Staff of the Foam Water was one of the strongest support items anyway. I feel like Ardent is a little bit stronger because we're getting lethal tempo ADCs coming back into the meta, and not really too much in terms of AP bot laners being played in solo queue. So I feel like Ardent most of the time is pretty good in solo queue. But Staff of the Foam Water was still a good item. But I feel like this is overall, in my opinion, a buff. I feel like the 2 seconds that you're getting as your buff duration is better than the ability haste granting buff going down by 5 seconds. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Scorch buff had to be done. Scorch is basically complete trash at the moment. No one uses Scorch. I don't think anyone will still use Scorch because it's going up by 3 damage. I don't know. Maybe we have to test it out, but I still don't think Scorch is that good. I still think for AP champions, most of the time you want to go for Gathering Storm. Gathering Storm just gives you so much AP so quickly, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. I think you can get up to I'm trying to remember the numbers of Gathering Storm, but I think at like 9 minutes you get 18 ability power. So that's already really close to Scorch damage. So it's like cool. Like, your early game will be stronger with Scorch. During laning phase, it will be stronger. But once it reaches 9 minutes, or maybe after that, once it reaches 12 minutes, you'll be getting most of the time more damage than Scorch anyway. Not more damage, but up to the same amount of damage as Scorch. And obviously, the later the game goes, the worse Scorch gets, and the stronger Gathering Storm gets. But that's just my opinion on the first rune, kind of for AP champions at the moment. And these are the big ones. These are huge changes to Bruisers with the system nerf. So first up, Black Cleaver. So the armor reduction stack per stack is going down from 5% to 4%, but the maximum stacks is going up from 5% to 6%. This is Overall a nerf. This means it takes longer now to get up to full stacks on Black Cleaver, and also they've reduced the armor per stack by 1%. So this means that before it was 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, so you can get up to 25% armor reduction and maximum stacks. Now it's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So you're losing out on 1% at maximum stacks, and it's also going to take an extra auto attack or extra ability now or something like that to get the maximum stacks. So not only does it reduce in terms of how much you can reduce the armor of the enemy champions, but now it takes longer to stack up to be able to get the maximum stacks for Black Cleaver. So a pretty big nerf to Black Cleaver. I mean, I feel like all these Bruiser items have been strong for so damn long, so it doesn't surprise me that they're finally getting nerfed. Death Stance is the other one. Heal on takedown from 15% down to 10%. I still feel like this item will still be really strong. I just think it's a really strong armor AD item that you can use just to negate most of the damage, because AD champions are just so strong. Bruisers are so strong at the moment. That's why Death Stance is getting built most of the time as a second item, if not a third item. And a Divine Sunderer is going up by 150 gold. I'm trying to work out my calculations. I'm not too sure if this means that Divine Sunderer can't get built as a first item before Dragon. I might have to test this out to see, but 150 gold is quite a lot. I feel like you get Divine Sunderer before first Dragon, only just though. If I remember correctly, playing champions with Divine Sunderer and trying to build Divine Sunderer first item, if I remember correctly, you got Divine Sunderer, but it was very close to first Dragon. I think this makes it so you don't get the item before first Dragon now. So we might go back to kind of a meta where everyone's building Black Cleaver as the first item. I won't be surprised. Even though Black Cleaver got nerfed, I still feel like it's pretty damn strong. And you also have all the other base stats that are really strong for Black Cleaver, and it's really cheap. But Divine Sunderer getting increased by 150 gold. Maybe just build this as a second item now. I'm not too sure. We'll have to test this out to see if that's you get it before the first Dragon or after the first Dragon. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what it's like. But anyway, that is all the changes for patch 3.3a and all of my opinions on patch 3.3a. A few champions that I'm surprised didn't get nerfed. You know, Lucian, Shyvana, Ahri is another one as well. There's a few champions that I feel like are really strong at the moment that didn't get hit at all, which are very interesting that they didn't get hit. Some of the items did get hit. For some of the Bruisers that I thought were really strong at the moment in the current meta. But overall, some very interesting changes. Nothing really too much in terms of AD carries. It's just Draven. In terms of other bot lane champions, you know, Senna, Sona, Soraka are also getting changed. But it's mainly to do... Oh, also Pyke obviously getting buffed. But it's mainly to do with the Bruisers. I think the Bruiser changes are a big one this patch, especially with the items. So I have to see how that works out. But yeah, for those who don't know, this patch will be going out next Wednesday. I will be doing a full rundown of the patch notes just so in case anything does change at all. I'll be able to stay tuned for that. And as always, take care, and I'll see you all in the next Wild Rift video. Peace.